What's up, my soldiers? It's WildBlueYonder, and I just got promoted. I got promoted to Senior Airman, which is 3 stripes E4. And what better video to make than to tell you all how to get promoted in the Air Force. Basically, your first 3 promotions come easy. It's free. It's a free promotion. If you stay out of trouble, if you pass your PT test, if you do your job correctly, you'll be promoted without any issue. Now, most people come in the Air Force as an Airman Basic, and they receive their first promotion after completion of tech school. If you sign up for 6 years, then you'll be promoted to A1C after tech school. Other people, they come into the Air Force with A1C. If you have more than, I believe, 48 college credits, then you can come in as an A1C right after basic. If you come in with 24 credits or more, then you can come in as an E2. So there's lots of different ways that you can come into the Air Force with advanced rank, and that can come in handy. So make sure you research that, make sure you go in, and you can find out what can you do to come into the Air Force as a higher rank. But if you just come into the Air Force as an E1, which is most people who come in with a 4-year contract without any education, you come in as an E1, you'll be promoted to an E2 after 6 months time in service. The promotion from E2, which is an airman, to E3, which is an A1C, takes 10 months time and grade. Now real quick, I'm going to go over the difference between time in service and time in grade. Time in service is how long you've been in the Air Force. Time in grade is how long have you been wearing your rank. The next promotion is the one from Airman First Class to Senior Airman. Now there's 2 different ways that you can accomplish this. The first way is to have 36 months time in service with 20 months time in grade. The next way that you can get Senior Airman is 28 months time in grade. So if you came into the Air Force as an A1C like myself, then you don't have to wait around the whole 36 months. You just skip straight to the 28 months because that's sooner. Now there's a third way that you can be promoted to Senior Airman, and this is called the Senior Airman Below the Zone program. I made a video about it. Go ahead and check that out. I break it down and talk about everything. It's basically a program where if you're a badass airman, if you're doing your job, if you're out volunteering, you got your education, you're just doing everything, then they'll say, okay, you know what, you're a really great airman. We need Senior Airmen in our squadron. Boom, we're going to promote you 6 months prior to your eligible promotion date. So if I was to be promoted in June, I would instead be promoted in January. Now the next promotion is E4 to E5, Senior Airman to Staff Sergeant. Staff Sergeant requires a little bit more effort. You're no longer going to have a free promotion. To test for Staff Sergeant, you need to have at least 36 months time in service and 6 months time in grade. So as soon as you make Senior Airman, you can test for Staff Sergeant, but you can't put it on until you've had on Senior Airman for at least 6 months. Being promoted to a Staff Sergeant requires a little bit more effort, and now you're going to have to complete what's called WAPS testing. WAPS is the Weighted Airman Promotion System. I'm going to make a whole video about this because it's a little bit complicated. There's a little bit more to it, but basically you go in, you take a test, and half the test is information about the Air Force that you have to know, and half of the information is about your jobs. Your score on that test is going to give you points towards a promotion. They're also going to take into consideration your physical fitness as points, any awards that you have as points, I think they used to use EPRs, but I don't think they use those anymore. There's a bunch of different things that they put into it. They're just basically reviewing you as a person. How long have you been in the Air Force? How long have you been in your time and grade? Each section has a different point value, and that all goes into one big system, and they spit out a number. If you reach a certain number for the WAPS testing, then they say, okay, you qualify for Staff Sergeant. Here is a line number. A line number is basically them saying you passed the WAPS test, you are now going to be promoted, but we can't promote you just yet because we can't let everybody be promoted at once. The longer you've been in the Air Force, the lower your line number is going to be, which means you're going to be promoted sooner. So if you're a brand new Senior Airman getting into Staff Sergeant, it's going to take you a little while to become an actual Staff Sergeant. The second way that you can be promoted to Staff Sergeant is through the STEP program, the Stripes for Exceptional Performers. And basically, this is a way for if you are a bad, hot, like, oh my gosh, this is the best Senior Airman we've ever seen in our whole lives. He cannot wait to be go through the WAP system. We need to have him as a Staff Sergeant right now. The Air Force can pick you up and put you right into a Staff Sergeant position. Now, this doesn't happen every day. If you are watching this video, I would hope for you to perform that well, but it's probably not going to happen to you. This is because the Air Force only gives out 200 slots every single year to the entire Air Force. But hey, if you think you can get it, freaking aim for that, because if you can get that Senior Airman Below the Zone and then get that Staff Sergeant step promotion, man, that's pretty hot. That's really good. E5 to E6, which is Staff Sergeant to Tech Sergeant. Again, you have to take a WAPS test. They have to take into consideration all your stuff. Then you have to be in the Air Force for 5 years time in service. You need to have 23 months time in grade, so about 2 years as a Staff Sergeant, or you can be step promoted into Tech Sergeant. The next one is E6 to E7, so that's Tech Sergeant to Master Sergeant. Again, you have to complete your WAPS testing. 8 years time in service, 24 months time in grade. And finally, the biggest change is that you have to go through a board. So for Master Sergeant, you're finally at the senior NCO tier. You're not going to be leading and making big decisions. So they want to make sure that you are okay, like mentally, and like you're good to go, you're qualified, you have the education, you have all the certifications. So what they do is they have this thing called a board. So you sit down in front of about 6 or 7 of your superiors, and they're going to scrutinize your whole career. They're going to look at your record, they're going to look at your promotion record, any history of paperwork, how many things have you messed up in the past. So they want to make sure that you're good to go. So it's called a board. It's basically a kind of like a job interview, if you can imagine that. Everything beyond Master Sergeant, you're going to have to go through a board. So Master Sergeant, Senior, and Chief, you're going to have to go through a board. Your penultimate promotion will be E7 to E8, which is a Master Sergeant to a Senior Master Sergeant. You're going to have to go through WAPS testing. You're going to have to go through a board again. You're going to have 11 years time in service, 20 years time in grade, and the WAPS testing, which you still have to do, it's a little bit different. They're going to take into account a few different things. It's not something that my viewers will typically have to worry about, so I'm not going to go into the details. The last promotion is E8 to E9. So E8 to E9 is Senior Master Sergeant to Chief. So you're going to be big boy, top of the pack, leading the Air Force, Chief. WAPS testing, board, 14 years time in service, 21 months time in grade. And again, you're going to have to go to the board. They're going to scrutinize your whole career. They're going to go through, make sure that you're good to go. For Senior Master Sergeant and Chief Master Sergeant promotions, there's going to be, the difference is 2 colonels and a chief on your board. So a little bit higher pressure. The stakes are raised because obviously you're trying to become a leader in the Air Force. The leader in the Air Force. But yeah, that's pretty much how you make Chief and how you make everything else. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them down in the comment box below. I'll try to do my best to get to answer these questions because I've been getting a lot more, and I'm about to reach 15,000 subscribers. So it's hard for me to catch up with all my comments. So I'm sorry I've been, obviously I can't answer all the questions anymore, but I'll try. But I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.